And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today, as always, folks. We are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/takesbyfans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered multiple ways. All right, today's a big old Wednesday. We'll be continuing on with our NFL team refresher. We'll spin the wheel and see what team we land on, see what they did last season, see what they did in the offseason, see what they did in the draft, who they picked up, who they lost, and then go over their schedule to see how many wins we can give them this season. We have gone through a couple of teams. We just did the Falcons yesterday. We're projecting them at 11-6. So we've gone through 6 teams so far. We got the Lions at 2-15, the Saints at 6-11, the Broncos at 10-7 or 11-6, the Falcons at 11-6, the Raiders at 10-7, and Washington at 9-7, having a high ceiling of 13-3. So we'll spin the wheel and do a random team like we've been doing the past couple of days. But let's just jump right into it with the stories of the day. And the first one up is a little bit of a update on what we just saw and talked about yesterday on the show. So Keith Kirkwood, the wide receiver for the Panthers that got his head taken off. It didn't seem like that bad of a hit, but I mean, they had to bring out the backboard, and they were a little concerned, and then they cut the safety cornerback, the undrafted defensive player that hit the wide receiver Keith Kirkwood. So they ended up cutting him, but Keith Kirkwood is all righty, folks. He is out of the hospital, and he was only diagnosed with a concussion. So there was some very alarming signs when the first hit happened, but then he was able to kind of regain feeling in his arms and legs, and it just turned out to be a little old concussion, which is still something big, but could have been a lot worse. So Keith Kirkwood, wide receiver for the Panthers, is all right, folks. Good thing. All right, and then another update here on Kenny Golladay. We saw him kind of like reach for his hamstring after a pass yesterday, and it was kind of a little alarming because he does kind of have a little bit of hamstring history injury. But early word on wide receiver Kenny Galladay's hamstring is that it is not considered a significant injury. He'll undergo more tests today, and hamstring injuries are notoriously tricky, but preliminary indications are positive, so that is good. Kenny Golladay maybe just misses a couple of practices here in training camp, but we're looking for week 1. We want Saquon Barkley to be there week 1. We need Kenny Golladay to be there week 1 so we get the full potential on what this Giants team can truly do this season. And it starts with kind of the big 3. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay, their best player in each kind of facet of that offense, wide receiver, quarterback, running back. So Kenny Golladay seems to be all right so far. Once again, great sign. I mean, we were, not having great kind of stories yesterday on the show with that man potentially being paralyzed, Keith Kirkwood and wide receiver Kenny Golladay potentially blowing out his hamstring, but everything seems to be fine so far the next day, so thank goodness. But then we get this. We also, a little update here. We talked about the brawl at Giants practice yesterday, and now we get kind of Daniel Jones talking about it, and so we can get a nice little inside look at truly what was going on, because all we just heard was a lot of people were on a lot of people, and Daniel Jones was at the bottom of the pile. So let's see what Daniel Jones says about the altercation that happened at Giants practice yesterday. So Daniel Jones on Brawl at Giants training camp, quote, "I think we've got to do a better job controlling that and making sure that we're controlling our enthusiasm and excitement." And, this just goes back to, that high competitive spirit. Full pads were on yesterday. You've got 90-plus people fighting for 53 positions, and that's basically 45 offense and 45 defense, folks. There's 2 facets, really, to the NFL game. And, the defense is trying to make the offense look like garbage by picking them off and not letting them move the ball so they can secure their job on defense, and the offense is trying to make the defense look trash by making all the completions and all the throws and scoring all the touchdowns and not getting picked off or anything like that. So you are a team, but we are kind of a little bit in the individual portion of the NFL season where you're just trying to secure your own spot on the team so you get paid, so you can continue to play, all of that stuff. So it does get a little bit heated. Yes, you're kind of a family, you're a team, but you're also kind of looking out for numero uno out there securing your spot. So things do get, chippy and brutal every now and then. But let's see what Daniel Jones is saying here. So here we go. Yeah, we'll just start at the top here. Here we go. All right. Things got chippy. No, extra chippy on the first day of the New York Giants strapped on the pads, and second-year coach Joe Judge wasn't having any of it. A full team brawl broke out with starting quarterback Daniel Jones ending up beneath the scrum. The sequence began with a lengthy run by running back Corey Clement. All right, that's good. We got Corey Clement coming into his own here, and because we know Saquon Barkley is taking a little extra long to get back on the practice field, so backup running back here, Corey Clement is doing solid. That's always good to hear. All right, tight end Evan Ingram took exception to a hit by Jabril Peppers, according to the New York's Post Paul Schwartz. From there, Logan Ryan took exception to Ingram's actions, and the battle royal was on. Jones reportedly inserted himself into the mix after it had already broken out. So Daniel Jones trying to be a little bit of a leader out there, be like, hey, y'all stop it. But they never listened to him, and then they just kept fighting, and then Daniel Jones ends up at the bottom of the pile. So if you want to read too much into this situation, maybe Daniel Jones isn't that much of an authoritarian leader out there. He's not able to break up the guys. They're not listening to him. They don't respect him. If you want to read that much into it, you could potentially come up with that. I don't know if I believe in that, but that's just something you can look into. We'll see. All right, a furious Joe Judge then lined the team up for gassers, then put them through a series of push-ups while reportedly spewing a profanity-laced tirade. High school-like discipline, to be sure. All that was missing were field-length crab walks. Quote here by Daniel Jones. There's consequences for that kind of stuff, and that's the way it is in the game. If you lose your cool, there's consequences, and that hurts the team. So that was the message, and everyone understands that. So that's great by Joe Judge, kind of truly taking full control of this team, taking full reins and control of this team. Joe Judge, the special teams coordinator for the Patriots a couple of seasons ago, the man's no nonsense, it seems. So once again, we saw this story yesterday. It all seemed not good, but we're kind of getting some good things out of this. Corey Clement, he basically began the brawl because the man was, being great on offense, and then Evan Ingram get a little bit of a shot by Jabril Peppers because maybe Jabril Peppers was a little upset that his defense was getting ran on all day long by not Saquon Barkley, and that's what started the brawl. So Corey Clement, congratulations on being good, and then Joe Judge, congratulations for just being a real solid head coach. You could have let this play on, you could have let this go and not taken full command of your team, but maybe now the team is better for it, now that everyone's back in place. This shouldn't be kind of held against anybody. I would say, like we said, things just get chippy out there. It's unfortunate, but you got grown men fighting for millions of dollars, fighting for fame, and fighting for what they basically the only thing they do. And that's not a knock. I'm not knocking these people, these athletes. It's fantastic, but they've been practicing and training their entire lives to do this. This is like, they can't just have a fallback job. I mean, most athletes don't finish college with a degree and are like, you know what, I'm going to actually do this. It's like, well, I'm going to play football because that's why I'm here in college, because I got the scholarship and I am a prospect and I am going to make millions of dollars in the league. So this is basically kind of all they do a little bit. So you got just all that going on in a kind of alpha male dominated sport in football. It's physical contact. Everyone wants to prove they're the greatest of all time. Everyone wants to prove they're the best. And, you got 90 of those people all in the kind of same like-mindedness that, it goes off sometimes. So great for Joe Judge to kind of, take control of the team after it all broke out. And let's read these last two quotes here to see if it settled down and everything's kind of back to normal. So here we go. All right, the best news to come out of the fracas was that Jones, the number 6 overall pick of the 2019 draft, managed to come away unscathed. Yeah, truly, when you got your quarterback at the bottom of the pile, I would be pretty much as upset as Joe Judge was, because we're expecting big things out of Daniel Jones. We're expecting a Josh Allen 2020 season for Daniel Jones in 2021, and if he's injured, you can't be having that season. So we can understand Joe Judge's kind of excitedness, to say the least, about this team in the skirmish. All right, Jones said he was, quote, fine after being piled on and didn't feel the need to shy away from the melee despite being the team starting quarterback. Quote, I'm part of the team and part of the offense, and we're competing, so I don't see myself separated from that. And once again, we're loving that. Daniel Jones truly being the leader out there. Hey, I'm not just, okay, I'm the quarterback, I'm delicate, you can't touch me, I'm not going to get it. I'm on the team, y'all. I'm this team. I'm kind of the commander of this team. I'm the field general. I am the one that basically everyone has to respect, because if you don't respect the quarterback, the team will not succeed. So Daniel Jones just trying to kind of be the man out there and try to settle it down himself. I've got no problem with that. So yes, optically on the outside, this brawl looked real bad yesterday, but honestly, when you kind of dig deep into it, it kind of just seems real good. Everyone just trying to, be their best, people just trying to be a leader, and, Joe Judge taking the reins. So, honestly, this is kind of a good thing. Honestly, I think this is actually good, and it may actually kind of make us buy the Giants just quite a little bit more. Not too much, because Saquon Barkley is still not out there, so that's a big red flag for us still. But just the pure competitive nature, I think I can get behind it. So not all bad here for this Giants brawl. All right, if Judge's response had the intended impact, any tension in the locker room should subside pretty quickly. And once again, the respect of Joe Judge. He got on their ass, and they're kind of going to respect him if the locker room, subsides pretty quickly. The tension in the locker room subsides pretty quickly. Last quote here by Daniel Jones. Here we go. We were just competing and everyone was excited first day of pads, like we said. I think we've got to do a better job controlling that and making sure that we're controlling our enthusiasm and excitement. And just kind of, folks, this is just classic right here. The clickbait headline was that quote right there. I think we've got to do a better job controlling that and making sure that we're controlling our enthusiasm and excitement. And it was literally kind of, the worst quote, like the one that had really kind of nothing to do with it. And it was put at the very end. Like, we got way more out of the other quotes on what kind of people were kind of feeling about the competitive nature, first day of pads, leadership, and all that. So it's just classic, journalism, if you will. So always got to read the articles, and always kind of got to, decently read into it. Don't read too much into it. What was the first thing that we read? That Daniel Jones wasn't respected because he was thrown at the bottom of the pile. So you can read into things, but not too much. And I think we can like this Giants team a little bit more now. Real solid leadership right there. Real great competitiveness all around. Alrighty, let's move on. A little bit of an update here, a little bit of new news. But we get Quentin Nelson, lineman for the Colts. He has the same foot injury that Carson Wentz has. He was scheduled to have surgery in Indianapolis yesterday with the same doctor as Carson Wentz, and obviously he still has the similar 5 to 12 week timeline for Quentin Nelson. So just unfortunate. What the hell is going on here with this Colts team that everyone's having bones off their foot just break off? What is this? What do they got going on over there? So not the greatest news here. A great offensive lineman, your quarterback, 2 big pieces for this Colts team, gonna probably be out for the first couple of weeks. We would love it to be a 5-week kind of recovery for both Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson, because that would mean that they would come back before game 1, which was absolutely fantastic. We put it, I believe, as the 6th, September 6th, I believe. September 6th would be the day that Carson Wentz could come back at a full 5-week recovery. And then it would be September 7th for Quentin Nelson to fully recover here if it is 5 weeks recovery for both of them. And we know the season starts on September 12th. So there is potential they play week 1, but we think they're going to probably miss like 3 or 4 games. I don't think it's going to take the full 12 weeks. I think it's probably going to take maybe around like 8 or 9. And then at that point, they miss kind of 3 or 4 games. So Quentin Nelson having the same kind of foot injury here. And we get this post by Quentin Nelson on Instagram on what he has to say about it. So here we go. Instagram post by Quentin Nelson says, third surgery of the offseason in the books. No time for pity. Fuck that. Truth is, I'm thankful. Thankful the early part of the timetable says 5 weeks. That gives me 5 weeks to do everything I can physically and mentally to be ready to go week 1 to smash these goals. DYJNMW. I don't know what that means. I will admit that. I'm sure it has to do something with the Colts nation or his mantra. Unfortunately, I don't know that. I don't speak that, unfortunately. But Quentin Nelson, with the right attitude, the right mindset, I got 5 weeks, baby. They say 5 weeks earliest. That's what I'm planning, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get right. Hopefully him and Carson Wentz are kind of, bonding over this. Obviously, offensive line and quarterback, new team here for Carson Wentz. A little bit of bonding, a little bit of injury bond. No big deal. You can't be out there practicing with your squad, but you can bond together and get right for trying to come back at before week 1. And it's going to be interesting to see, do they come back at the same time? Does one have an issue? Because if Carson Wentz does not come back at the same time that Quentin Nelson does, that's not going to be a good look for Carson Wentz because of his injury history. We're giving Carson Wentz like an eighth of a free pass here with this injury, just because it was an injury that has been with Carson Wentz for long. This isn't a new injury that has arose. So we're giving Carson Wentz a slight free pass because when we go back to our training camp narratives, we did not want to see Carson Wentz get injured at all. Not even a little bit of a small tweak or a bump or a bruise or a cut or a scratch. We didn't really want to see anything like that. Unfortunately, we get this. But we still can give them a little bit of a free pass, and it's going to be interesting to see which one comes back first. Do they come back at the same time? Does Quentin Nelson come back at 5 weeks and Carson Wentz goes to max at 12, or does Carson Wentz go over 12, or does Carson Wentz never come back again? Does he have to have the foot amputated? Does he have to retire already? It's questionable because it's Carson Wentz. So we'll keep, obviously, track of what is going on here with this Colts team. Hopefully no more foot injuries here. Jeez Louise. What are the team doctors doing here for the Colts? I mean, everyone's getting, bones on their foot just floating around. You had the Chargers medical staff last season puncture Tyrod Taylor's lung. It's like, are we really getting the best medical treatment here for these NFL players that are worth millions of dollars? Maybe, some of these owners should invest a little bit more money into that medical staff, because I don't know what the hell has been going on here in the NFL the last couple of years. So Quentin Nelson, Carson Wentz, both had the same injury, both had the same surgery by the same doctor, 5 to 12 weeks. Carson Wentz had a day early. So we'll see how they race each other to get back. But Quentin Nelson with the right attitude, you love to hear that. Alrighty, I want to go into this quickly right here. We'll see how great this article is. The Colts are not trading for Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew, or Marcus Mariota at this time. Now, this is exactly what we want to hear. We really don't want to see the Colts go out and trade for a quarterback. We are still, like we said, decently believing in Carson Wentz, even though the injury, a little bit of a free pass. But with Nick Foles, we said it would just kind of, just taint the overall chemistry that Carson Wentz is already having with this Colts team. Nick Foles overshadows Carson Wentz because of the time in Philadelphia that they spent together. One won a Super Bowl from the other because the other got injured. So it's just Carson Wentz would not want to have Nick Foles on this team again, because then all the kind of headlines and narratives start to kind of write themselves, and it just kind of distracts from the team and the game, and Carson Wentz gets made out to look like, the schmuck in this situation. Oh my God, this man can't play. And once again, Nick Foles to the rescue. That's not not a narrative that Carson Wentz wants to even think about being in again for however many years he's here for the Colts alongside Nick Foles. So we really don't want to see the Nick Foles trade. Gardner Minshew, he wouldn't be the starter. We know Gardner Minshew wants to be a starter in this league. Now, as soon as Carson Wentz comes back healthy, he's back to being the starter. There's no question about that. So Gardner Minshew wouldn't be kind of the right fit here for the Colts anyway, even though I would like to see what Gardner Minshew can do because I want to see this man starting. But he's having great success early on for the Jaguars this season and could still win that starting job. So I don't like the Gardner Minshew trade either. The Marcus Mariota trade is a little intriguing because we did like what we saw from Marcus Mariota last season. It was small, but it was real solid what we saw from him. And we really thought, it was his time to get a starting job somewhere, but, there was no takers on him, unfortunately, and he's still with the Raiders, still behind Derek Carr. A little unfortunate. But honestly, Marcus Mariota, not bad for the Colts for a 3, 4, 5 week maybe stretch. We have been liking what we've been seeing from Jacob Eason, and we're going to talk about some good things a little bit later in the show about the man. But Marcus Mariota wouldn't be the worst if there was kind of, you have to choose Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew, Marcus Mariota for the replacement for the Colts for however long Carson Wentz is out. I think I give it to Marcus Mariota, honestly. But let's go into this article right here quickly and see what they're saying if we get any kind of other news that we haven't heard so far. So let's see what we get here. For anyone still thinking the Colts could make another trade for a quarterback, an update from NFL insider Chris Mortensen puts that notion to rest, at least for right now. Starting quarterback Carson Wentz hasn't been completely ruled out for week 1, so there's no point in making a move yet. And that is true. Like we said, he could be back the 6th, September 6th, earliest date for his return here, and we'll see if he goes out and kind of, is able to make that a reality. And then you don't even have to worry about the quarterback. And then, you over panicked for nothing and you left a bad taste in Carson Wentz's mouth for nothing. Like Carson Wentz is thinking to himself, like, y'all told me you were going to believe in me. We had this discussion. We knew this was a possibility, and I'm not out for the entire year, so what the hell are y'all doing? And now he's got a bad taste in his mouth for this Colts team. Maybe he doesn't respect the coaching staff, the organization, the front office anymore, and then we're getting, Carson Wentz last year in Philadelphia. We'll get the same kind of attitude and, just kind of fuck it mentality, letting the ball fly here with this Colts team, and that's not what we want to see. All right, here was the tweet from Chris Mortensen. He said, the Colts are not trading for Foles, Minshew, or Mariota at this time. Carson Wentz begins rehabbing his foot after 2 weeks. He hasn't been ruled out for week 1, but it's optimistic. If this relatively safe surgery and rehab gets complicated, then another vet quarterback will be considered. But, they said this is a relatively safe surgery, and they're optimistic, so I really don't see that being the case. As of right now, there are 4 other quarterbacks listed on the team's roster: Jacob Eason, Brett Hundley, and Sam Ehlinger, and Jalen Morton. And we have been liking what we've been seeing from Jacob Eason in college over Sam Ehlinger, and we have been kind of liking the first early reports of Jacob Eason in camp truly getting it done. The last 2 are rookies, while Eason is the only second-year player out of Washington. Another reason why we like him. He has a year under his belt, and he learned under Phillip Rivers for a year. Real solid. Yes, Eason was only a 4th-round pick a year ago, but he's got big-time raw talent, plenty of size, 6'6". We absolutely love that. 231. Some mobility and elite arm strength. We did like his arm strength in college. We watched that highlight tape. It was good. There are still issues with footwork, touch, and seeing the field and other nuances of playing the position, but Eason at least offers them something to work with. And once again, exactly what we said, just come in and be the game manager. The offense is loaded, the defense is loaded, they are fine. They just need a quarterback to go out there and be the game manager. And kind of, the knocks that they have on Eason in this article saying, footwork issues, touch, seeing the field. He was able to kind of maybe correct that last season. We really haven't gotten a new revitalized look here of Jacob Eason. So all these kind of narratives and knocks are from what they were seeing in college, but you had the year under the Colts, a full year of practice. You had a full year of learning under Phillip Rivers. I'm sure he took something away from that, improved on those things, and is a lot better than the last time that he was really kind of seen in totality wise through the draft process and all that. All right, let's see how he does in that role. Eason has got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, a capable running game with Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and Nyheim Hines. Ooh, I respect the heck out of this article for listing all three running backs. We are big on those three running backs. Love that every single one is getting recognition. Enough pass catchers and a complementary defense. In all honesty, he couldn't ask for a better situation to be in right now. Truly that, like we said, game manager, quarterback, that's all he has to be. Hopefully, Wentz can make his way back onto the field sooner rather than later. If not, then another veteran option could be considered down the road. Those options, or at least one of them, will still be there if that time comes. Alrighty, so really no new information there. They're not trading for any other quarterback. They're sticking with Jacob Eason, and this is why. Here we go. New updated notes on Jacob Eason from camp. Here we go. We got 3 of them here. Much better for Eason in the number 1 offense to start today. Better protection. 3 of 3 with short completions to Doyle, Taylor, and Granson. So once again, Jacob Eason wasn't with the ones the start of training camp the first couple of days. Carson Wentz goes down. Then you throw him into the starters. A little bit of the not maybe the best day one, but is getting better every single day that he is kind of the starting quarterback out there. So we absolutely love hearing that. Then we get this one, Jacob Eason with a beautiful ball down the sideline to rookie Mike Strachan in one-on-ones. Fantastic. Love that. A nice, beautiful ball down the sideline. You love hearing that. And then we get this really nice 7-on-7 there for Jacob Eason. Beautiful touch on a deep ball to T.Y. Hilton that grazed his fingertips but fell incomplete, but overall just a good ball. Work on the accuracy. We're just trying to, get you better and better and better. And then they also say, also did a good job leading Hines over the middle, allowing him to create yards after the catch. So once again, the touch, the spacing on the ball is improving, and that's what we love hearing from Jacob Eason. So we are buying into Jacob Eason. We've bought into him as soon as we looked into him, and I'm glad that the Colts are truly sticking with what they have on the team already, not trying to make this a huge deal with Carson Wentz, with the outside noise and the outside narratives of the media saying you got to go bring in a backup. What are you thinking not having a backup with Carson Wentz? But Jacob Eason, don't clown that man. Let that man work. It's like we always just kind of, if you're not like a first round quarterback, everyone wants to throw you aside, and it's like we always go with the same other pieces, the same backup quarterbacks time and time again. It's like the signing of Nick Foles to the Bears should just prove to everybody that you should not be signing Nick Foles, and you should be looking for other alternative options, because Nick Foles just floundered with the Bears and lost the starting job to Mitch Trubisky. I mean, I think Nick Foles is truly out of magic there with that Super Bowl run. I think he's kind of now just a meh quarterback. He's nothing special. So go out and trust what you already have acquired. Trust the kind of just basic learning process, folks, of going from like a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth round pick and putting in the work. Yes, you're not going to start immediately. And yeah, it's going to be a little hard for you to get a starting job because you need the starter to go down, and then you need to kind of be picked as the backup and go prove that you can get it done. And then, after that season ends and the starter is back, then you have to kind of convince a team that you are actually a starter and then leave that situation. So it's hard, but the time and occasions do arise as we're seeing what's going on here with the Colts. So I'm glad that Jacob Eason is getting that kind of true opportunity to try and earn his place, being like, hey, I can play, y'all. I just learned under Phillip Rivers for a year. I've been in the system. I know this team. They know me. I had a couple of reps with the ones, not a lot last season. I had a couple. I talked to T.Y. Hilton. I was able to say hey to him in the cafeteria, and we have a little bit of a repertoire now. So I'm truly glad. Like, I love seeing this, and I really want to see Jacob Eason give it his all. And we've got preseason games coming up soon, and we'll see what Jacob Eason can do there, because he will definitely play all preseason games, because Carson Wentz will not be available for preseason, and we have to get Jacob Eason up to snuff if Carson Wentz is not ready to rock week 1. So cannot wait to watch Jacob Eason in preseason. And so far, it seems like he's getting better and better every single day here in training camp. And that's exactly what you want in a second-year quarterback, having first-time reps when he wasn't really expected to have first-time reps here. Jacob Eason, go out and win that starting job and, Just be that game manager, get a couple of wins before Carson Wentz comes back, and we'll praise you. We'll hang you up on the wall. I will get a Jacob Eason canvas. Spoiler alert, Jacob Eason is not on the new canvases coming in tomorrow or today. They're going to be put up tomorrow. Cannot wait. Hopefully they're here today. They should be here today. If they're not here today, we're going to have to, do something. I'm going to have to call some people and get some things sorted out. But Jacob Eason, I will put you up on this wall if you have one good throw in preseason. That's all you need to do, and I'll put you up on the wall. Loving, I want to see this man in action, folks. I want to see this man in action. Jacob Eason, folks, y'all better remember the name. And don't disrespect Jacob Eason by saying that the Colts should go out and sign Nick Foles and trade for Nick Foles. That is disrespectful as heck to Jacob Eason and myself. I will take disrespect to that as well. I will stand up for Jacob Eason. All disrespect thrown at Jacob Eason is thrown at me as well. So if you want to mess with Jacob Eason, you're gonna have to go through me first, folks. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here. Here we go. We know it's potentially Big Ben's last year, and we'll see what they do at quarterback. But here we go. We get a nice little quote here from Art Rooney II. Art Rooney is aware this could be it for Big Ben, saying, quote, if this is his last year, then next year we'll be making decisions on a quarterback. So, yes, that's, we lose a quarterback, we make decisions on the next quarterback. Yeah, classic right there. But let's see if we can get in this article right here, because we know there's really no good backups here in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's Mason Rudolph, it's Dwayne Haskins, it's J.K. Dobbs, folks. It's like, no disrespect to them, but they're all trash. No disrespect. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but they are all kind of trash, unfortunately. We gave Dwayne Haskins the benefit of the doubt last season with Washington. I mean, he was the third string last season, folks. He was a starter, and then he fell down to the third string because he was absolutely not good. And then you have Mason Rudolph, who, once again, was just absolutely not good. Had a kind of a full season to win the starting job when Big Ben was out 2 years ago. And what did he do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So let's see what kind of Pittsburgh's mindset is going to be next season. Are they looking in-house? Are they kind of truly set on drafting a quarterback? The Steelers could be good this season because everything is kind of in place for them to be good this season. So that means a high draft pick or a low draft pick, however you phrase it. It's a high draft pick in the round, and all the good quarterbacks could be gone. So it is going to be a little tricky for the Steelers to navigate getting a good franchise quarterback here. But let's see what their kind of early plan is, if there is any, and if they are sharing it with us. So here we go. If Big Ben's long and winding NFL career doesn't come to an end after the 2021 season, it might not come to its end in Pittsburgh either. Steeler president Art Rooney II indicated Tuesday that bringing the club's longtime starting quarterback back for 2022 isn't out of the question. Ooh, this is interesting. Alrighty. Quote, it's not written in stone that this is his last year. It is kind of written in stone, kind of, but, anything can happen. So we are expecting it to be Big Ben's last year, but, if he's looking real good, he's feeling fresh, and he comes, at the end of the season, he's like, yeah, I think I could go for one more. It's going to be up to Big Ben, his own discretion and his own decision. And, like we just said right there, they would be open to bringing him back next season. He is kind of the face of the franchise, and the Steelers have already kind of been doing this man right. They brought this man back in for this season with not a lot of money, and, they would, I'm sure, gladly do the same. Hey, we can get a good quarterback for no money. Yeah, we'll do that. No problem. That's kind of everybody's goal. Nobody likes to overpay quarterbacks because then you can't get all the other pieces that you need, and then you don't win Super Bowls. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. So let's see what else we get here in this article. At 39 years old, Roethlisberger is entering his 18th NFL season, all with the Steelers. The club re-signed him to a one-year contract earlier this year with a pay cut of $5 million. So exactly what we just said. He's like, hey, I want to play here. I don't care about the money. I've made my money. I don't need any more money. Money's good. Yes, just give me $1 million. Give me the veteran minimum. Roethlisberger threw 33 touchdown passes last year and helping the team to a playoff berth, but his play tapered off toward the end of the season, and the club lost to the Cleveland Browns at home in its playoff opener. Quote, we are aware this could be Ben's last year. We hope it's a great one, Rooney said. that's as far as we can go with it right now. Obviously, if this is his last year, then next year we'll be making a decision on a quarterback. So that's all we got here. 2 quotes, nothing great, and we get no further information on what they are truly kind of looking like with their quarterback search after Big Ben, because, like we said, it's going to be hard to get like a top 15 draft pick because the Steelers are going to be pretty solid, so you're not going to get it like a top 15 quarterback, and then you don't really have anything on your team. So this is really why I think it's real smart, because Deshaun Watson pretty much probably isn't going to play this year. I think the thing that happens to Deshaun Watson is that he gets placed on the commissioner's exempt list for this season while the entire thing plays out with the sexual allegations and all that, sexual assault allegations. And I think the Steelers could be smart in going out and trading for Deshaun Watson this year, knowing that he doesn't need to play this year because Big Ben's here, but next season, then you've got another franchise guy right off the rip. And obviously, it's all going to come down to value on what you have to give up to get Deshaun Watson. But the Texans listing Deshaun Watson as their 4th string quarterback really seems like they're expecting him not to play. So they really can't imagine, or really shouldn't be believing, that they're going to get 3 first-round draft picks like they've been saying that they're wanting. So if the Steelers can come in and get a nice deal done, maybe I would honestly give up 1 first-round draft pick next season to get Deshaun Watson. I would kind of take that risk because I don't need to win right now. If he is on the exempt list and then he can play in 2022, and I got Deshaun Watson for 1 first-round draft pick, that's a big old steal, folks, and that will just show the kind of long thought process that the Steelers are truly putting in, knowing that they really don't have any viable option for a quarterback next season, nothing on their team, and not getting one with a high draft pick, an early draft pick. So I really think the Steelers should kind of take, it is a gamble, no doubt, because we don't know if Deshaun Watson will ever play again. We don't know if he'll go to jail, and we don't know, he could even be fine to go this season. So try. With the Texans listing him as the 4th string, there's something up with that. There is something up that is kind of not totally known to everybody. It really seems like the Texans are expecting him not to be able to play this season. So Steelers, go out and try to get that great deal that you can make with the Texans to lock up Deshaun Watson next year when there is no more Big Ben. And you definitely don't want Mason Rudolph. You definitely don't want Dwayne Haskins. You definitely don't want J.K. Dobbs as your next man up. So we'll see what the Steelers go out and do, but I think it's a safe, good, calculated, smart investment of a bet to try and get Deshaun Watson. I don't think I would do more than 1 first-round pick, 1 first round. If they want a second, maybe I throw in a second, but I'm definitely not giving up 3 first-round picks. 2 is a little 2 and nothing else. 1 and maybe something else, I think, is the kind of deal that I would definitely agree to do. So we'll see what they do, folks, and we'll see if Big Ben comes back next year. We'll track his progress, absolutely. Seeing if he's feeling good at the end of the year. But, just kind of right here, not great. We get Dwayne Haskins talking, and we just heard from Dwayne Haskins in training camp, not looking real good early on, so classic there. We weren't expecting anything big from this man. But we get this, and I want to see what this man is truly saying, because this is a little interesting to be said. But here we go. Steelers, Dwayne Haskins says he's, quote, trying to make it a competition with Mason Rudolph for QB2 role. Dwayne, you were QB1 in Washington, and then you fell down to QB2 when Alex Smith took over, and then you fell down to QB3 when Taylor Heineke took over for the playoff game. So you were number 3 with Washington. You think now you can go out and compete number 2 for the Steelers? I mean, it's only Mason Rudolph, so yeah, you have, pretty easy competition there, but you're not that good yourself. So I love the optimism, and I don't like to knock any players or people for their optimism, but when it's this kind of bad, when you're like this bad, and all right, let's see if we can give him the benefit of the doubt here. Let's go into this article and see what quotes we can get. Let's see if he's saying anything meaningful here. So here we go. The current Steelers third-string quarterback is expected to get a load of playing time this preseason, beginning Thursday when he should replace Mason Rudolph, starting for Big Ben Roethlisberger at some point in the first half. Alrighty, we are going to have to keep note of that because we got football on tomorrow, folks. Preseason football starts tomorrow. How great is that? Steelers, Cowboys tomorrow, Thursday Night Football. Absolutely fantastic. And we are going to kind of guess the spread. This is going to be our first guess of the spread, prediction of the spread of the season, and then we'll come in with our official pick tomorrow on the show like we do in the NFL season, where we guess the lines on Thursday and make our picks on Friday after sleeping on those lines. So we're gonna predict our first line here today. Fantastic, of the season. Cannot wait. So we'll keep that in mind, that Big Ben's really not going to play that much, and it's going to be Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins out there for preseason game number 1 most of the time. But let's get back to this article. Pittsburgh has made it clear it views Rudolph as the backup, but Haskins is trying to make that decision tougher on the staff. Well, you got your work cut out for you, because everything that we've seen from him has just not been good. We've given him, folks, you can go back, all of our shows from last season are archived, and we've been giving Dwayne Haskins the benefit of the doubt every single game for as long as he was there. We're off of him finally, folks. And it's going to take something really good here to get us kind of back into good graces with him. But quote here by Dwayne Haskins, quote, "I'm trying to make it one. Trying to make it a tough decision." All right, that's the first quote. All right, good thing we got, that's the only quote that we got from him, actually. The next quote's from Mike Tomlin. So, all right, glad that Dwayne Haskins is saying a lot of things out here. All right, Haskins joined the Steelers this offseason after spending less than 2 years with Washington, who made him the number 15 overall pick in 2019. The midseason release was a wake-up call to Haskins, who has said all the right things as he works in the background in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he has kind of been saying all the right things, but at some point you have to have your play do the talking, and that's where he runs into a little bit of trouble. After struggling both on and off the field in Washington, reports out of Pittsburgh suggest Haskins has improved his decision-making, getting the ball to open receivers, and even added a little movement out of the pocket. All right, little dual-threat game with old Dwayne Haskins. Love it. Quote here by Mike Tomlin. "He's grown by leaps and bounds." Ooh, okay, maybe we can buy into Dwayne Haskins. Back to the quote. "He does a good job of communicating with coaches, with players, gaining an understanding of what we're trying to do schematically and his role in it, gaining a rapport with the receivers specifically, trying to do the things that we want him to do in the drill works. In the drill work that we do, we've made an emphasis that drill work is football-like, but not necessarily football. And so we have certain things that we emphasize under those circumstances. I think he's done a nice job of that. I think a lot of guys have. So he's kind of, praising Dwayne Haskins, but, also that little last line in there, I think a lot of guys has just kind of once again just saying, yeah, everyone's kind of doing good out here. We're all doing good. We're all improving. We're all getting better. So Dwayne Haskins is still quarterback number 3, and he'll be playing in this preseason game to see what it's all about, folks, and see what he can do here with the Steelers' stacked offensive roster and Najee Harris behind him, and just see how he does. So Dwayne Haskins trying to make it a competition. But we wouldn't bet on that. We would not bet on that. Alrighty, let's move on here. We will guess. Once we're done with the stories, we'll talk about the line for today or for tomorrow, and guess it and react to it and see what it is and all that. But let's go into this article right here. Here we go. And this one, it cost me 50 cents, folks. So it cost me 50 cents, and then I'm going to have to remember to cancel my subscription after the show. So y'all better damn appreciate this article right here. And this article better be gosh dang good, because I just spent 50 cents on it. 50 cents. I had to put in my credit card information, folks. Got to cancel it. I got to remember they're going to charge me $8 a month. $8 for a Denver article? I mean, we are online. Why are you charging for articles? I mean, what are we doing here? Charging for articles, gatekeeping information. What? So this better be good. This better be gosh dang good. So here we go. Here's the tweet that got us into the article. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Mike Boone. The Broncos appear to be using a 3-back approach. Each running back has impressed in the first week of camp. So a 3-back approach. We just saw the Ravens do a 3-back approach with J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, and I always forget the third one. Gus Edwards, there it is. And then we talk about the Colts potentially using a 3-back scheme of Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines. And now we're potentially thinking the Falcons can use... No, not the Falcons. The Saints could use 3 backs with Alvin Kamara. And they just brought in... Oh, I got to look them up. Because they got 3. Latavius Murray, Alvin Kamara, and what was it, Devontae Freeman that they just picked up? Let's get their depth chart up because they got 3 backs. We've talked about that on the show earlier this week when we heard the signing initially. It is Devontae Freeman. So they got 3 backs. So this potential of 3 backs, we've been kind of keeping an eye on it, and it is a narrative that we are looking into. And the Saints doing it was kind of real bizarre because we were like, Alvin Kamara is absolutely great, and Latavius Murray is a solid number 2. And then you bring in Devontae Freeman, who's a solid number 2, but now is a great number 3 now. And it's like, all right, maybe this passing offense isn't going to be as great as it was. Maybe, they're going to kind of run what the Ravens did with Taysom Hill at the starting quarterback, like a Lamar Jackson, that dual threat ability with, having fresh running backs out there because you can just cycle. If you have 3 great running backs and you can just keep cycling them in and out, nobody's tired, fresh legs for the entire year, that could be deadly. So it's interesting that the Broncos are trying to use this approach. They don't have the best running backs out here. I don't even like Melvin Gordon. I don't even put him in really the top 15 backs. I don't even know if I put him in top 20. So it's a little interesting there. Javonte Williams, Mike Boone to kind of round out the 3 here. So we'll see what is in this article and why they think the Broncos could be using this kind of 3-back fit. And once again, like the Saints with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, the Broncos with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, it's like they're good quarterbacks. All 4 of those quarterbacks are good, but they're not the elite. They're not the top tier. They're not in the top 10 of quarterbacks. They're not even in the top 15 of quarterbacks. Jameis Winston could be if he didn't throw all those interceptions, but that seems to kind of go hand in hand with his level of play and how he just goes out there and plays quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to kind of go through this article and just see what this Broncos kind of just overall offense identity is going to be. Are they just going to let whoever wins the starting quarterback job go out and be the game manager and let these 3 running backs just kind of really maintain the game and control the time of the game, control the clock, and control the game, let their defense kind of be, solid as well, so the quarterback just has to be a game manager out there? So let's see what we get in this article. Big stakes in this article. It's by Zach Stevens of thedenver.com. Thedenver.com. They're charging 50 cents now. The Denver, because it's such a highly regarded website and journalist publishing. So Zach Stevens, if you're charging me 50 cents to get in this website, you better gosh darn hope this article's good. So pressure is on right now, and let's see if this article was worth the time, the hassle of signing up, paying, putting in my credit card, and then having me to remember to cancel my subscription right after the show, because I ain't getting dinged for $8. Ain't no way, folks. Ain't no way I'm getting dinged for $8. So here we go. The headline of the article: Denver Broncos training camp takeaways. How the Broncos rushing attack is forming into a 3-headed monster. All right, Zach, sell us. You better gosh dang sell us. All right, let's read this editor's note. Welcome into one of many, many takeaway pieces to come during Broncos training camp. A staple of Denver's training camp coverage. The website, The Denver. We're The Denver. These stories will be posted after each and every practice of camp. Who is standing out, who is lagging behind, and who is looking like the favorite in each of the position battles? Those are questions and many more we will be answered right here. All right, baby. Here we go, Zach Stevens. Sell us. All right, 3-headed monster on the ground. The Broncos have the 4th highest paid running back in the NFL. He's the 4th highest paid running back. I cannot believe that. That is just disrespectful to everybody else, folks. Melvin Gordon, I don't think he's that great, folks. He's tier 2 in my opinion. I call him tier 2. All right, back to the article. Here we go. The Broncos have the 4th highest paid running back in the NFL. They traded up in the 2nd round to draft another runner, and they gave nearly $2 million a year to another back in free agency this year. And make no mistake about it, they're going to use them all. That was very apparent on Tuesday when the team put pads on for the first time this year and truly got to evaluate the rushing attack. Quote, I thought we ran the ball pretty damn good on offense, Fangio said proudly after practice. Quote, I need to go look at the tape. I just think we had a good progression. I think tomorrow's practice will be even better with pads on. To start, Melvin Gordon has appeared to pick up where he left off last year. In the final 7 games of the 2020 season, Gordon averaged over 5 yards per carry. That's pretty good. That's really good. After an offseason haircut, literally, Gordon appears in even better shape and has been reading the field well. By the Broncos' action, he remains the top back as he's receiving the first rep each day. An element of his game that was displayed widely in the first 5 practices without pads was his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Regardless if it's been Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock, Gordon has received plenty of targets. He's shown to be a reliable receiver in those targets too. All right. So Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater may be kind of dinking and dunking a little bit out there, trying not to kind of, lose the job. Just a little overread into that. All right. One of Gordon's best runs on Tuesday came on 3rd and 5, with the defense expecting a pass and the offense playing into that. With Lock in shotgun, Pat Shurmur dialed up a draw play. As the defense dropped into coverage, Gordon got the handoff and exploded upfield. He crossed the first down marker before the defense could crash down on the play. First down. All right, Melvin Gordon getting first downs in practice. Absolutely love it, right? While Gordon has been treated as the starter in the first week of camp, it's very clear the Broncos' rushing attack will be a group effort, thanks in large part to rookie Javonte Williams. Now, we're not the biggest on Javonte Williams. We do have him on our big board here. We do have him number 3, but we have to say this every time we bring this up. It's big, drastic differences, and there's a big old gap here between Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. They're up here, and then there's a big old gap, and then Javonte Williams and Michael Carter are right down there. So there's really not that much depth here at the running back position. And I'm not the biggest believer in Javonte Williams. I think he's an average back. I don't think he's anything truly special. And if the Broncos were kind of planning on doing a running back by committee, why the hell do you get rid of Phillip Lindsay? He was still under his rookie deal, and he was still rushing for 1,000 yards every single season. So it still makes no sense why they got rid of Phillip Lindsay, and it's still irritating to me, especially reading this now, that you want to have like a versatile, packed running back room and use all three rotation running back room, and then you get rid of Phillip Lindsay in the offseason. I think it makes absolutely zero sense. I want to know whose decision that was that fully kind of pulled the trigger to get that man off the team. I hate it. Well, let's get back in this article. Quote here by Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator. Quote, he's been terrific, Pat Shurmur said after Tuesday's practice. Quote, his running ability is very obvious, but the things that we see are his instincts as a football player. Some people just get it, and then we've all been around people that just don't quite get it. They wake up every morning and start over. He gets it, and it shows up in his pass protection. It shows up in being able to get lined up, his awareness. He's got a really bright future. Williams' bright future won't have to wait. Although Gordon has received the first reps, Williams has received plenty of snaps with the first and second team offense. Not once has the rookie looked out of place. Alrighty, real solid there. On Tuesday, he displayed a mature aspect to his game. On 1st and 10 during a move the ball period, Williams received a handoff from Lock out of the gun. Instead of taking off toward the left sideline, the rookie waited for the sweep to develop. Williams slowly drifted to the left as his offensive lineman pulled to the sideline, then made his move and shot upfield. The play only gained 5 yards, but if the 21-year-old hadn't shown patience, a little bit of a bad, that's our knock one on the author right here. A little bit, I don't think this is right. But if the 21-year-old hadn't shown patience, hadn't shown, you got to put that in there, my man, hadn't shown patience, it would have been far less. So you got me paying 50 cents for an article that's not even proofread and kind of, fully 100% right? Y'all got me paying for this nonsense? Zach Stevens, disappointed, my man. 1 strike already. 3 strikes and we're out. We'll close the article. We won't even finish it. All right, let's get back to the article right here. This running style was also on display when he took it to the end zone from a few yards out during a red zone period. Williams displayed patience as he waited for the hold to develop near the goal line, then hit it hard as he picked up 6 points. At 5'10", 220 pounds, Williams isn't afraid to seek out contact. But on Tuesday, he also displayed a shimmy to freeze a linebacker and pick up 3 on a play where nothing was open up the middle. Alrighty, so he's got some patience. The biggest kind of patient runner is Le'Veon Bell. I mean, when everyone kind of watched him just kind of like tiptoe behind the line, and then he finally sees the hole after kind of like 2, 3, 4 seconds of following the blockers, and then he hits it, and then he explodes through it. So we'll see if Javonte Williams out here can kind of be a Le'Veon Bell-esque running back. We'll see. So far, it's kind of sounding like he's kind of developing his game to be that patient runner and then attack and, just wait and make the right read. If Denver's running attack stopped there, they would feel very comfortable about their 2-headed attack, but there will be one more back added to the rotation. Quote here by Vic Fangio. I like Mike. Mike is a good running back. Fangio said on Tuesday about Mike Boone. Quote, he's got juice, he's explosive, he's decisive, and he runs hard for a guy that's maybe on the small side, but he doesn't play small. I like Mike. Mike is not a guy to fall asleep on. Alrighty. Wake up number 26 is going to see the field. He certainly has been the first week of camp. When Boone's on the field, there isn't a drop-off in terms of explosiveness at the running back position. Quote, by Pat Shurmur, he's an explosive guy, very explosive and, again, very instinctive. He will earn some playing time in there. He's done a really good job. It's not a coincidence both Fangio and Shurmur used the word explosive when talking about the 5'10", 206-pound back. On Tuesday, trailing the offensive line as they gradually pushed the defensive line to the left, Boone saw a hole on the right side of the line, planted his left foot, and shot out of a cannon for a gain of 10 yards. Although the Broncos have 2 massive commitments ahead of him on the depth chart, as the head coach said, don't sleep on Mike. Near the end of practice, Shurmur displayed just how fluid the running back rotation could be. In a 4-play sequence during a move-the-ball period, all 3 backs were given the ball. In those 3 plays, Denver picked up 15 yards on the ground. The potential 3-headed rushing attack could not only help keep all 3 backs fresh, but it could also help them all stay healthy, and that's exactly it. 3 out of a 4-play sequence, all 3 running backs played the ball for at least 1 play, so that constant rotation. And if you don't have that great elite running back like Melvin Gordon, if you want to call him tier 1 running back, that's fine. I'm not going to knock that, but he's not top 5, top 10. And that's why running back by committees can work. You don't have a Derrick Henry that can just rush for 2,000 yards. You got Melvin Gordon, whose baseline is like 1,000. I think he's only broken 1,000 once in his career, but he's always like a solid 8 to 1,000 yard. So that's a solid back right there. But then you just bring in your number 2 who gets another like 600. Then you bring in your number 3 who gets another kind of 3 to 500 as well. And it's just fresh legs that's all explosive, that can truly all get the ball moving whenever, regardless of who's out there. So that's why we are kind of, always getting behind like the 3-back rotation. If you don't have a Derrick Henry on your team, you should be kind of, doing running back by committee. Derrick Henry, he doesn't need kind of a backup running back. He doesn't kind of need the rest. He will just go out and do it all himself here. So Melvin Gordon's really not that guy. And if Javonte Williams is as good as they're saying, if Mike Boone's as explosive as they've been saying, and if they can get just great, consistent production from all 3 of those runners out here, it's going to make the offense just work even more. It's going to keep them all healthy, like they said in this article. And it's just going to make the job of Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock, whoever wins the starting job, just that much easier knowing that they don't have to go and do it all themselves, that they can rely on the running backs, all three of them. They don't have to keep making the deep throws. That's what Drew Lock wants to do. He always falls in love with the deep throw. Teddy Bridgewater's knock is that, he's has a little trouble kind of moving the ball in some circumstances during the points of the game. And if you can rely on three great running backs here, it just makes everything, fall into place. So this is something that we will definitely look on, that we will kind of keep tabs on, this Broncos running back depth, and if they truly just keep going with the three-headed rushing attack, and we'll see what happens in preseason, and we'll see if it carries on into the regular season. So overall, this article, all right. Was it worth 50 cents? No. Did we get anything great information-wise? No. Did we see a spelling error? Yes. So Zach Stevens right here, he's on Twitter. Here he is. Zach Stevens, DNVR, Denver, the Denver folks. Take it up with him. I think we'll be canceling our subscription. We'll see. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here, folks. Folks, listen. Are y'all listening? Are y'all listening to me? You're going to listen to me? Here we go. Justin Fields is going to be the week 1 starter. Y'all heard me? We said this a couple months ago. Justin Fields to be the week 1 starter was plus 300 odds. We took that. We have that. We're going to hit a lot of money on that. We will be rich off of that. Then came the dreaded day that they took that bet option off of DraftKings. It's been about a month that has not been on DraftKings. You cannot bet the week 1 starter for the Bears anymore. But it's back, y'all. It's back. I did a little moseying around, did a little searching on DraftKings, and it is officially back, folks. It is officially back. This is how you find it. If you're using DraftKings, you go to NFL, and then you go to season specials. Nope. Where is it? I got it, folks. Hang on. Player futures. And here it is. Player futures. It's back, folks. It's back, and it's better than ever. Oof. If you didn't cash in the first time, it's back. You have your second chance, and it's even better. Justin Fields to take Chicago Bears first snap in the 2021-2022 regular season, yes, is plus 400 now, folks. It's plus 400 now. Do not let this slip by you again. Do not lose this value again. It is back, folks. They took it off for a month. It's back. It's at 400. Even better odds now to make money. Justin Fields, week 1 starter, plus 400. Go bet it right now, folks. Love that it's back. And we got a lot more options as well. We can bet on the Broncos now. Who's going to be taking the first snap for the Broncos? Drew Lock is at plus 100. Teddy Bridgewater's at plus 120. So really kind of true 50-50 battle right there. The Saints, Jameis Winston is at minus 150 to be the starter. Real interesting there. Mac Jones to be taking the first snap, plus 250. Solid odds there. Ryan Fitzpatrick, minus 900. And that's what we've been saying, folks. It's basically shored up that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be the week 1 starter, and he's at minus 900 to do so. So we can kind of officially call this quarterback competition officially over in Washington. Congratulations, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Trey Lance to take the first snap of the regular season is plus 300. That's a little interesting too, but you all know that we are big on Justin Fields to do it. We got the Texans. Tyrod Taylor is at minus 600 with the favorite, and we believe that to happen. And then who will take Indianapolis Colts first snap in the 2021-2022 regular season? Nick Foles is at plus 250, and he's the favorite, folks. That is the favorite odds. How crazy. Brett Hundley is at plus 400. Carson Wentz is at plus 500. Sam Ehlinger is at plus 650. You can't even bet Jacob Eason. You can't even bet him. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. They got Marcus Mariota at plus 700. They got Phillip Rivers coming back and playing for the Colts at plus 1,200. They got Gardner Minshew playing for the Colts at plus 1,600. But you can't even bet Jacob Eason? What the hell is that? So, the main takeaway, Justin Fields back. Justin Fields' bet is back, folks. And do you need more? Do you need more to sell you that he's going to be the week 1 starter? Well, look at this. He's going down the sideline right here and just dapping up everybody. Look at all the fans excited to see this man. And he goes out there giving high fives. Everyone's excited when they touch his hand. Everyone loves it. I mean, folks, the crowd wants him. Everybody wants to see him out there. He's going to be out there week 1. Justin Fields has been getting it done. Look at it. He's going literally all down the first row right here, the entire length, and he's slapping everybody up, folks. He is getting the team or the fans hype here. He's going to give out his headband. He's going to throw his headband into stands, folks. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The team loves him. Yes, he's the week 1 starter. Do you need more? Do you need more? Well, watch this throw right here. Watch this magnificent, beautiful throw right here. Justin Fields, 2-step drop, fires deep. Look at that ball. Absolutely fantastic. One-on-one coverage right here, and he puts it exactly where the ball had to be. The receiver had about a half a step on the defender, and Justin Fields lays it perfectly, beautifully, amazingly right over the top, right into that man's hands. Look at him go. Fantastic. Do you need more? I've got one more. Bears, Justin Fields has already completed more long passes over the middle in this camp than Trubisky did in 4 years. 4 years. Now, I'm sure this is a little smurfy. I'm sure there's no kind of exact data on this. But the fact that Justin Fields just has that kind of ability and has that kind of just, little bit of a sling it attitude where he's going to go deep and he's going to trust his arm and he's not going to be afraid to kind of make mistakes and grow from those mistakes. And he's going to always try and move the ball down the field because that's how you score in this league. If Justin Fields is already doing anything more than whatever Mitch Trubisky did, come on, folks. Justin Fields has already completed more long passes over the middle in this camp than Trubisky did in 4 years. And we're only talking about a week into training camp. Come on. Yes, I know all that we've been hearing from Matt Nagy is, there's a plan. We've got a plan. Andy Dalton's our starter, but we have a plan. Go out and make that guaranteed secure money, folks. Justin Fields is the week 1 starter. The bet is back, and we absolutely love it, folks. The bet is back. Do not miss it again. Y'all know how I felt when that bet got taken off? It crushed me. And now it's back. And I'm rejuvenated. Revitalized. Ready to throw another 10 grand on it. Ready to throw another 50 grand on it, folks. I'm telling y'all, we are cashing out on this. And when week 1 happens, we will be in the Bahamas for the rest of our show, folks. We will be doing the show from the docks of the Bahamas. Come on. Join us, will you? Join us by the villa right next to us. Let's all make some money together. Justin Fields, week 1 starter, plus 400. How do y'all not take that? Gobble it up. Alrighty. All right, here we go. Let's talk about the Broncos now. Broncos. Pat Shurmur says he's, quote, seeing the best version of Drew Lock in training camp. So we just saw that it's a very, very tight quarterback battle right here. That's all we've been hearing. That's all we've been seeing. We know the quarterback battle is going to go well into the preseason games, pretty much to preseason game number 3. But Drew Lock to be the starter at plus 100 and Teddy Bridgewater to be the starter at plus 120. And we're getting some good things out of here from Drew Lock, which is good. I would like to see Drew Lock be good in this league. I don't want to see this man be a bust. He had a real kind of nice coming into this league when he played 5 games and went 4-1. It was looking real good. Took a little bit of a step back last season, but let's see now that you have kind of pressure behind you to really kind of be the best that you can be. We're seeing that, Drew Lock is kind of stepping up. We haven't really seen any interceptions in training camp, and we're getting the offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur, saying this is the best version of Lock that we've been seeing. So absolutely fantastic. And now let's talk about this right here. The tweet here by Around the NFL. Drew Lock versus Teddy Bridgewater. James Palmer offers an in-depth look at the determining factors, decision makers, and stakes involved in Broncos quarterback battle. So we're going to go into this and see what James Palmer is saying. Let's get James Palmer's credentials here. He is a national correspondent for the NFL Network. All right. Verified, check mark, everything. So we're going to see what he's saying about the decision makers, stakes involved, determining factors, all that about the quarterback battle here. Do we agree or do we disagree? What are we hearing? What are we seeing? But before we get into the article and see all of that, let's just quickly kind of give what are our determining factors, decision makers, and stakes involved in the Broncos quarterback battle. So the determining factors of who's going to be the starter, it's going to be who's moving the ball, who is scoring points, and who is not turning the ball over. That's really the only three. Teddy Bridgewater, he has struggled moving the ball sometimes, putting up those points offensively. That was kind of the downfall of the Panthers. They just weren't putting up enough points. Teddy Bridgewater's stats were fantastic last season. Had 2 1,000-yard receiving wide receivers. That's fantastic, but he wasn't able to move the ball. Then on the other side, Drew Lock never really moved the ball when he needed to. That kind of urgency was kind of misread a little bit. Turned the ball over a little bit way too much. Got out of the gate a little bit late, got out to a late start. So that's really the determining factors that I would be looking for during training camp from these two quarterbacks. Who's moving the ball? Are they scoring points? And are they not turning the ball over? Whoever is kind of the best out of those three, I'm going to make the starter. Now, those are the determining factors and the decision makers. The stakes involved, I mean, if you go with Teddy Bridgewater, not a lot of stakes there just because this is a first year with the team and he beat out Drew Lock. So it's like, yeah, if Teddy Bridgewater still stinks, during the season, it would suck, but I don't think the Broncos would take too much heat from it. And then if he's great, they made a genius choice. So I don't really think there's any big loss here, whether Teddy Bridgewater is good or not. If you go with Drew Lock, though, then you've committed to this man for 2 and a half seasons. He's still not getting it done. He's a bust. They need to move on, and the Broncos made the wrong choice. Now, if they go with Drew Lock and he's good, then they just finally put in the work. His transition finally got there, and the Broncos were right all along to stay the course of that. So different narratives depending on how well these quarterbacks do, depending on which one wins the starting job. But now let's go into this article right here and see what James Palmer is saying. Do we agree? Is he going to say exactly what we just said? So let's see. Alrighty, here we go. Who are the decision makers and what are their priorities? Well, obviously the decision makers are going to be Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, and Vic Fangio, the head coach. I mean, and what are their priorities? We'll see if they are, turning the ball over, moving the ball, and scoring the ball. So let's see what we get. Denver's quarterback one dilemma might be best characterized as a decision on what the franchise values more heading into the season, the present or the future. Locke is 24 years old and has started just 18 games. The 2019 second-round pick has tremendous arm talent, but by his own admission is still developing. A season with Locke at the helm would perhaps include several bumps along the way as he grows with each start. By taking the safer route and starting the more seasoned Bridgewater, who is 28 years old, Denver could be navigating through their calmer waters. They'd benefit from more consistency in the moment, but with a cap on ability. The decision could also signal the possible end of Locke's career in Denver without the franchise ever truly learning whether he could develop into a viable long-term option. The Broncos would potentially find themselves right back in the same spot again this time next year. And that is true. If you go with Teddy Bridgewater this season, you really can't go back to Drew Lock next season. If you go with Teddy Bridgewater this season, it has to be Teddy Bridgewater or somebody else next year, depending on how well Teddy Bridgewater does. But you would kind of kill Drew Lock's confidence a little bit. Be like, oh, now y'all want me. Now y'all think I'm good. So it would be kind of, get rid of Drew Lock next season. Keep Teddy Bridgewater on the roster just because he's kind of now your base, your backup at worst. And then you go out and see if you get a free agent, see if you draft somebody, whatever the case may be. The two men with the most say in the decision, general manager George Patton and head coach Vic Fangio, are in very different situations. Alrighty, I'm interested to read why the general manager has such a high say. Let's see why. Patton is the first-time general manager who has just signed a 6-year contract in January. He'd been pursued by teams for years while serving in Minnesota's front office and finally decided this offseason to join Denver. He has time on his side. He inherited the vast majority of his roster and isn't expected to transform the organization overnight. Still, the perception around the league is he's off to a very strong start. Patton has already shown tremendous patience in how he handled his first free agency period and by ignoring outside pressure during his first draft. He selected Alabama cornerback Patrick Surtain II with the 9th overall pick instead of jumping on Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, proving Patton is willing to stay true to his board and his plan. With a young, talented offense already in place upon his arrival, Patton spent this offseason focused on strengthening the team's defense. On paper, it's a top 10 unit that has a chance to be the best in the league under Fangio, who is considered one of the best defensive minds in football. And so while Patton is beginning to his tenure in Denver, Fangio is doing everything he can to make sure his doesn't come to an end. The 62-year-old has a 12-20 record in 2 seasons with the Broncos. That's really not great, folks, at all. His first opportunity as a head coach, where Patton has more time for his success and failures to be evaluated. Fangio's job security is more directly linked to this season in this decision. If you think all this adds up to Patton wanting to see if Locke develops while Fangio is in favor of the more consistent Bridgewater, you should remember that Patton is the one who decided to trade for the 7th-year passer in April. What will go into the decision and when might it happen? Alrighty, let's see. Well, we know when it might happen. It's going to happen after preseason game number 3. I mean, this is kind of what we already know, what everybody's saying here in Denver. All right, here we go. As of the publishing of this article, there is no favorite to win the job. Daily film sessions, individually and in groups, will lead to long conversations and debate. The team's decision makers will assess everything. Mistakes are among the most important factors being evaluated. More specifically, not just how many each quarterback makes, but the magnitude of the mistakes and whether they're correctable. The Broncos' brain trust would like to see some separation between the two quarterbacks by the time the team begins joint practices with the Vikings ahead of their August 14th preseason game. What complicates the evaluation is that the two players play the position very differently. During the first week of practices, Denver has simply run its offense without catering to the strengths of whoever's under center in terms of scheme or play calling. However, that will change the further the team gets into camp. My understanding is how each quarterback performs during the 3-game preseason slate. Denver would have preferred the league had stuck with 4 will factor greatly into the final decision. The team plans to give both passers several opportunities in multiple preseason games before naming a Week 1 starter, placing a high value on performance during live football situations. The Broncos would like to avoid dragging out the decision, but there's a scenario in which the team waits until after the 3rd preseason game to name its starter. In a perfect world, Locke or Bridgewater essentially makes the decision for them based on performance. Alrighty. So, not a lot there. Let's see. Here we go. Bridgewater's path to the Broncos starting job, and then they also do the Locke's plan to the Broncos starting job. So let's read these. These are very lengthy. We probably won't read all these, but let's see what the first couple of paragraphs are saying, and maybe we'll buy into it. First of all, this article is not kind of exactly what I kind of wanted it to be, not really listing out exactly, just kind of saying basic things that we have already been saying and more, or in kind of less, honestly. So let's see what we get here. Bridgewater's path to the Broncos starting job. The Broncos believe that even with limited arm talent, Bridgewater can win games. They saw the former Viking go 11-5 in 2015, operating a Minnesota offense predicated on the run and opposite a stout defense. Although Bridgewater's record basically flipped last season with the Panthers 4-11, he did finish 5th among qualifying passers in completion percentage at 69%. Once again, that's something that we absolutely loved about Teddy Bridgewater. And when we looked at what Drew Lock was doing last season, do they have his, because I want to say it was like, I don't know, was it 60? I don't know. I thought it was real low. Do they say his completion percentage was 57%? That's real awful, folks. That's absolutely atrocious. So that is why we kind of buy Teddy Bridgewater a little bit more, because of the great completion percentage. I mean, the sheer drastic differences between 69 and 57%, folks. I mean, that is pure night and day, folks. You take the darkest of night and the lightest of days, and that is the difference there, folks. It is that drastic, and it is that easy to see. He's all right, back to, Teddy Bridgewater here. He's one of the most accurate and efficient quarterbacks on short yardage throws. Only Aaron Rodgers at 85% had a higher completion percentage than Bridgewater, 82%, on passes of fewer than 10 yards. But once again, that's kind of our knock on Teddy Bridgewater. He doesn't really move the ball too well, doesn't really score the points, doesn't really kind of go on the long drives to score the ball. All right, if Denver's goal is to play great defense, protect the ball, and rely on its run game with Melvin Gordon and second-round pick Javonte Williams, hey, don't forget about Mike Boone. Hey, this man's forgetting about Mike Boone. He only listed the 2 running backs. So once again, hey, we got 3 great running backs here. We just need Teddy Bridgewater to kind of be the game manager. That's exactly what we're going to be looking for in our quarterback, the game manager. Drew Lock tries to do a little bit too much out there most of the time. You could easily make the case that Bridgewater is the best option, but the Broncos have a receiver group that includes Pro Bowler Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, and sure-handed Tim Patrick. And they also have one of the NFL's top young tight ends in Noah Fant. He got invited to Tight End University. We are big on Noah Fant, folks. Another former first-rounder who led the team in catches last year. Being limited at the quarterback spot means limiting this talented group from making game-changing plays, something Bridgewater understands. All right, with this group of pass catchers, a quick slant can become a 40-yard gain with ease. So it's certainly possible for Denver to create explosive plays without airing the ball out downfield. Once again, why you would go with Teddy Bridgewater over Drew Lock. Teddy Bridgewater is accurate, and he's got 70% completion percentage, 69% completion percentage. So you deliver the slants, deliver the surefire ball, and then you let your amazing athletes at the wide receiver position just do the work. And once again, why you would probably go with Teddy Bridgewater in that situation. But the Broncos want to see Teddy Bridgewater find the right mix between checking down the football and attacking deep. He's working to find that balance, and that effort is showing up at practice. All right, now let's see Lock's path to the Broncos starting job. Let's see what they say. There's a valid argument that Lock needs more time to develop. He's been cruelly handed a revolving door of offensive coordinators dating back to his time at the University of Missouri. This year, Lock will have the same offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur, for consecutive seasons for the first time since his freshman and sophomore years. Jeez. It's hard to develop if you're learning a new system every offseason. Shouldn't he be given a pass of some sort? A little pass, but we're going into year 3. I mean, at some point, you just have to cut it. So you just got to cut it off. Same thing with Sam Darnold. I mean, at some point, you just got to cut it. Yeah, we can blame Adam Gase and Todd Bowles and absolute just trashness in the Jets, but it's still like he's never been throwing 60% completion. It's like we still have to see something good. Same thing with Drew Lock. It's like, yeah, he was all right and we can give him a pass, but 57% completion last season, you don't get a pass for that. You'll get a pass for like 60, 61, but I'm not giving a pass for below 60. You still have to go out and do your part out there at least decently. And anything below 60% completion percentage is absolutely atrocious, folks. Something I will never get behind, something I will never buy into. So we've got to see a little bit more from Drew Lock, and then add that pass. But I don't know if we give him a true pass right now. Maybe a quarter of a pass, but not a full pass. All right, last year was Lock's only full NFL season as a starter. He tied for the most interceptions, 15. Once again, very bad. Most interceptions and 57% completion percentage his first year starting. Once again, that's nothing that we can give a pass on. We can't give a pass on that. You throw 10 interceptions, you throw 62% completion percentage, I'll give you a pass, no problem. But 15, tied for Carson Wentz with the most, 15, 57% completion percentage, and that's dead last. I was going to say, is that dead last? They say. And finished dead last in completion percentage at 57%. I can't get behind that. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I can't. I won't get behind Drew Lock because of that. He struggled badly, but it's important to put those numbers and his performance into context. All right, let's see this context. He missed out on valuable offseason field work due to the pandemic, lost his best playmaker in Sutton to a season-ending injury in week 2, and had a new offensive coordinator, and with just 5 career starts under his belt, was tasked with leading one of the youngest supporting casts in the league. Is it possible to evaluate his play fairly without factoring all the above into the equation? Alrighty, let's take these a little kind of one by one. He missed out on valuable offseason field work due to the pandemic. Yes, but so did everybody else, and we saw a boom in completion percentage. Teddy Bridgewater, with a first-year new team, a first-year NFL head coach, he threw 69%. Yes, he did have a little bit of better receivers overall than Drew Lock, but overall, just you can't really say, oh my God, well, I didn't have the work. Yeah, not a lot of quarterbacks did either. And Justin Herbert, I mean, he played fantastic, and he was a rookie. He didn't have that experience either, so I really can't give him a pass on this. The next one, lost his best playmaker in Sutton to a season-ending injury in week 2. Alrighty, I can buy into that a little bit, but then you still have Jerry Jeudy, who we know was fantastic last year. So once again, yeah, you lost a piece, but you still have other great pieces around you. Once again, I really can't buy into that 100% as a true excuse here for a free pass to be made. He had a new offensive coordinator, and with just 5 career starts under his belt, was tasked with leading one of the youngest supporting cast in the league. All right, new offensive coordinator. Yeah, I can give you a little bit of a pass on that. That is frustrating. All right, I just learned this man's offense and what he wants to do. Now you're telling me this is the new offense, completely different, and you want me to start doing this. It's a little frustrating to learn that. So I'd probably say, having a new offensive coordinator is the biggest thing out of all of them mentioned right here that we can kind of buy into and give Drew Lock a little bit of a free pass with. But overall, it's still real bad, folks. I still can't get behind. I mean, that 57% is just it's glaring, folks. It's big, blinding, glaring right there. 57% completion percentage, 57%. The interceptions, maybe I can overlook, but I can't overlook the 57% completion percentage, folks. I will not do that. I cannot do that. You still got to make the right throws, whatever you're tasked to do. And he just wasn't doing that, obviously. So. All right, I'm kind of, debunking all these excuses that they're trying to throw in there. All right, Locke could very well show improvement over the next few weeks and still not win the starting job. If that happens, might the Broncos bail on his development? Would they be giving up too soon? I mean, you can always leave him as like a third string, but I don't think he'd want to be a third string. So it is, a little interesting on what they would have to do with Drew Lock if they truly move forward with Teddy Bridgewater. Alrighty, anything else here? They just kind of trying to compare him to Josh Allen, his year 3 leap. Ooh, I mean, the numbers are there. I mean, the completion percentage, 56%. Josh Allen over his first 2 seasons. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but still, Josh Allen, he's the exception, not the rule, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see it in training camp, and we'll get a better kind of understanding in training camp of what these two quarterbacks are looking like and who's going to be the kind of front runner for this job. But that's where we are with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. Both had their strengths, both had their flaws, and we'll see which quarterback the Broncos value on just who's going to be able to really just be that missing link, that missing piece to this team overall. Alrighty, let's keep going here. We got a couple more stories to go over of what has been going on in training camp thus far. So let's go into this. Here we go. Vikings have released 2020 first round pick cornerback Jeff Gladney. Oh no, the 2020 first round pick was indicted by a grand jury on a charge of assaulting a woman. He's gone. Unfortunate, because what is the biggest thing for this Vikings due to this for this offseason? Get the defense good. Get the defense good. That's our narrative for the Vikings. Let's bring it up. Our training camp narrative here for the Vikings. Establish an identity offensively, and all caps, the defense must, 100 exclamation points, be 1,000,000,000% better. And that's what they were trying to do through the draft, getting their defense right. Let's take a look at this Vikings draft. I thought I had it up somewhere. Where is this up? Where's this at? Here it is. Here it is, right here. Okay. All right. The Vikings draft. Obviously, we know the first pick was that cornerback. Oh, 2020 first round quarterback, not 2021. That's my apologies. But let's see what that man was doing last season. Jeff Gladney, was he still their kind of starting? If I look up their depth chart, he's not going to be on there. All right. Vikings depth chart, and is he still on here? No, he is not. So they got Patrick Peterson, we do know, as one of their corners, but was this man a solid kind of number 2 corner? Let's see if he was getting any burn. Let's go to our favorite website, playerprofile.com, and see what Jeff Gladney was doing last season against the top of the elite wide receivers. Jeff Gladney, let's get him up. Was he a shutdown corner? He was a first rounder. Real solid. All right, Jeff Gladney, he did play last season. All right, let's see what he was giving up, and played basically every single game. Missed week 7. And that was it. All right, here we go. Against Alan Lazard, 0 of 0 for 0 yards allowed. Against Michael Pittman of the Colts, 5 of 8 for 48 yards. All right, solid. Adam Humphries, 5 of 10 for 88 yards and a pass breakup. Meh. Against Randall Cobb, 4 of 7 for 71 yards and a pass breakup. Still getting burned a little bit. Against Tyler Lockett, 3 of 5 for 39 yards. That's a solid play right there. Against Russell Gage of the Falcons, 6 of 6 for 113 yards. He did have a pass breakup as well, but geez Louise. Against Devontae Adams, 7 of 8 for 124 yards. So now we're starting to get into kind of the better wide receivers, and he's kind of getting destroyed a little bit. Against CeeDee Lamb, 5 of 9 for 44 yards. That's a good lockup right there. Against DJ Moore, 3 of 9 for 58 yards. Against Chris Godwin, 2 of 3 for 36 yards. Against Allen Robinson, 4 of 5 for 50 yards. Ty Montgomery, 3 of 5 for 24 yards. So overall, not a bad season. Was kind of getting better as the season progressed, but against, Devontae Adams gave up 100, against Russell Gage. Randall Cobb put up 71. Adam Humphries put up 88. So kind of the tier 2, borderline tier 1 wide receivers out here were kind of, destroying them. He was kind of locking up the bottom end tier 2 wide receivers. But still not the greatest. So unfortunate. Jeff Gladney, trying to shore up the defense a little bit at the cornerback position, is gone off the Vikings because of an indicting charge of assaulting a woman. And once again, if you want to try to, circle this back to Deshaun Watson, we got a lot of, accusations, nothing really coming forward too much in the kind of, justice kind of field. The criminal justice field is all kind of being civil. We have been seeing, a couple of women filing legal lawsuits, and if the Vikings are going to release a cornerback here for indicting on a charge of assaulting one woman, what about sexually assaulting 22 plus? So not a great look here for Deshaun Watson. Once again, why he's kind of a 4th string listed in training camp. All right, let's move on, though. But a new day, a new CeeDee Lamb highlight, baby. Oh, my goodness, this time going deep. Remember, Carson Wentz is still not throwing yet because of that little shoulder tweak. So they got the backup quarterback out here, and he throws an absolute beautiful ball here to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, can we look at this separation? Can we look at this separation, folks? Oh, my goodness. That's a full step, folks. Full step of separation from CeeDee Lamb to the defender. The ball is thrown absolutely perfectly. Look at this, folks. Look at that separation. At the point the ball is there, a full, true step right there. And CeeDee Lamb, that's just too easy. That's just too easy. It's thrown absolutely beautifully. It's thrown absolutely perfectly. CeeDee Lamb burned this cornerback absolutely perfectly, and it all comes up for a big ol', I want to say, what do we call this? 30 yards? 35 plus yards right there. So CeeDee Lamb, folks, he's the one that we've been just seeing highlight after highlight after highlight. Great play, great play, great play, great play. Going up and getting it. One-handed catch. Jumping over a defender. Burning the defender here. So we are kind of big on this Cowboys team, folks, and we're going to get another inside look here when Hard Knocks starts next week. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we'll see what CeeDee Lamb does in this preseason game. we'll see how he's looking, but watch out for CeeDee Lamb this season, folks. That year 2 leap, the year 1 leap was fantastic. I mean, he came in rookie year, was getting it done, and now he's still wide receiver number 2 on a team, and he's going to be burning everybody like he's already burning everybody in training camp. This defense cannot contain CeeDee Lamb. Oh my gosh, folks. Every day a new highlight, and I'm looking for the one from today's practice, folks. So we'll be back tomorrow with a new CeeDee Lamb highlight. The odds are pretty much in our favor of that. Alrighty, we've talked about Deshaun Watson today on the show, and this one is real interesting. The Panthers are quietly keeping an eye on Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson's situation. Real interesting here, because we just had Matt Rule make that firm decision to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater after last season, after he put up last season was decent. The wins was lackluster. The point totals was lackluster from Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not arguing with any of that. But the stats themselves were fantastic. The completion percentage was great. Him getting both wide receivers 1,000 yards was fantastic. Him not having Christian McCaffrey. Him doing it all with a first-year new team of a COVID season where we didn't get kind of that early training camp, early offseason to kind of work and get acclimated. Nothing really in person, everything virtual. And then having Matt Rule come up from the college system, I thought it was kind of a successful year for the Panthers last year. But Matt Rule gets rid of Teddy Bridgewater, and then he believes that Sam Darnold is the answer here and goes out and gets Sam Darnold. We never really bought into that. We hated that decision. But that's what Matt Rule does. And now the Panthers are keeping an eye on Deshaun Watson. What's going on, Matt Rule? Is Sam Darnold not good because he's not good? I mean, the only reason Sam Darnold honestly has a career is because Colin Cowherd hyped him up big time. Colin Cowherd bet big time on Sam Darnold to succeed. Now, it's still, is it Sam Darnold, or was it just the garbage organization of the Jets? Having, Todd Bowles, he's not a head coach. He's a great defense coordinator, not a good head coach. And Adam Gase is just not a good anything. He's not good at calling the plays. He's not good at leading men. He's not good at coaching players. He's not good at getting his point across. He's a shutdown. If you're starting to talk to me, he's got his hat down at every single press conference saying like, yeah, I don't know, the players are out there, and I'm trying to coach, and they're not really doing what I say. It's really coming down to all the players not doing it, and my system is perfect, and I'm putting all these guys in the right position to fit and to succeed. It's just they don't go out and do it, so it's really just all out on them. And why are we paying Le'Veon Bell all this money? He's so it's like, that's still debatable. But now that Matt Rule is thinking about bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, why? You just double down on Sam Darnold. So maybe Sam Darnold is the big old bust that we think he potentially is. So real questionable here. Matt Rule maybe made the wrong decision. Well, we could have told you that at the end of last year when you made that god-awful decision to let Teddy Bridgewater go. It made no sense to us. So real interesting that they're looking at Deshaun Watson to try to be the savior here because Sam Darnold's not getting it done. All right, and then the last thing to talk about here, we got Cam Newton not being the greatest out here. Rough 7-on-7 series for Cam Newton. His first pass was intercepted by J.C. Jackson. His second was broken up by Jackson. And a few plays later, he overthrew Nelson Aguilar deep. Ooh. So this isn't good. Obviously, Cam Newton is trying to kind of win his way back into our good graces. We've truly kind of we haven't totally sold him. We've been kind of resting on 1% buying into Cam Newton for a while now. We're just kind of waiting for the right moment, probably preseason game number 1, to fully sell Cam Newton. But it's just not been looking good for him this training camp. We've been hearing big things from Cam Newton, really the same thing he says after every single season. I let the haters motivate me. The haters always fuel me. Them saying I can't do this fuels me, and I'm ready to kind of get back here and prove them all wrong. That's my only motivation, is the haters out there. And, he has good respect for Bill Belichick, says that Josh McDaniels is like a genius. Same thing with Bill Belichick, and he wants to be here. But we are just not seeing that play out there on the field. So he is still struggling here in training camp, and we're supposed to have, something good from Cam Newton in the second year of this Patriot system. But so far, it hasn't really been looking that hot. So the Mac Jones, like we said, for him to be the week 1 starter is plus 250, real solid odds. I think that was the same odds that it was left off last month when they officially took it down. But can Mac Jones go out and win the starting job? I don't know, but Cam Newton doesn't really give you anything. So maybe you do just rock with Mac Jones because we can't really believe in Cam Newton. His throwing of the ball isn't anything great. He's a better rusher. I mean, if you want to call any quarterback a running back, how everyone calls Lamar Jackson a running back and not a quarterback, it's Cam Newton. Cam Newton's not a quarterback, man. That man's a running back. Stop disrespecting Lamar Jackson and point that disrespect to Cam Newton because he kind of earns it a little bit more than Lamar Jackson does. So Cam Newton not looking good out here in training camp, and we'll see what he's doing in week one of preseason games. We'll see how that's looking, but I wouldn't be too big on this Patriots team. Remember, a lot of tier 2 pieces all over him at the wide receiver position, at the running back position, at the tight end position, all kind of tier 2 pieces, and Cam Newton's not a tier 1 quarterback, so how are we going to have like a bottom tier 2 quarterback elevate tier 2 weapons? It usually doesn't work out, so not great. Alrighty, those were all the stories that we needed to cover for today. Went long on the stories today. We are not, unfortunately, going to be able to get to our team refresher. We do have a couple of extra days built in, so we are still decently on schedule, so we're not panicking just quite yet. But let's end the show with guessing the spread of what the first preseason game of the season is going to be. It is, correct me if I'm wrong. I've been saying it for like the last week, so hopefully it's not wrong. It's Steelers Cowboys, correct? Let's see. I want to get it up really quickly. Do they not have the preseason game up? Oh, can we not bet preseason? Oh, how unfortunate will that be? I thought we could bet preseason here. Interesting. If we go to football, is there no? Oh yeah, preseason. All right. So it's going to be Steelers Cowboys preseason game 1. What do we think the spread's going to be? This is what we do throughout the NFL season, folks. Regular season, we like to predict the lines before we see them, just to kind of get a good gauge on where we are feeling compared to Vegas. Because if there's big discrepancies in that, then we are like, all right, what are we missing? What are they seeing? What are we overvaluing? What are they overvaluing? What are we undervaluing? What are they undervaluing? So we can get a nice, concise, just where we are at our thinking. Are we right on our thinking, or are we totally off on our thinking? And that kind of, gives us a good kind of step, and just could kind of, because when you're betting, I mean, folks, you're putting your money on the line. So you obviously want to get everything correct. What do we believe in? What stats should we be looking at? All that. So just what we like to do in guessing and reacting to the line is just getting our kind of base underneath us, our feet underneath us, and that's what we do throughout the NFL season. Thursdays is our day that we predict every single line, and then Friday, when we sleep on the line, then we come back with our pick. So let's talk about preseason game number 1. It's on a neutral field, correct? Because it's in Canton, Ohio, because of the Hall of Fame game. So I don't think there's any home field advantage on that. We will correct that if we are wrong. But it's Steelers Cowboys. Cowboys defense is probably going to be really, really bad. The offense should be really, really good, but it is preseason, so how much do they play? And overall, the Steelers defense is just better than the Cowboys, or it's good, so it's going to be able to decently match up with the Cowboys offense, and I really think the Cowboys defense is just going to get absolutely obliterated this game. And the Steelers offense has a great offense. They got Najee Harris. We're probably going to expect to see a lot of Najee Harris in the preseason, maybe for the first entire half, just to get him acclimated. And once again, they have to figure out that line rotation, so expect a lot of with the first offensive team line and kind of the first running backs, and with the wide receivers. Big Ben's probably not going to be playing that much. Dak Prescott's probably not going to play at all because he hasn't even been throwing in practice anyway because of that little shoulder injury. So we are going to officially predict the line at Steelers -4 here for preseason. So let's see what this line is, and let's see if we get our thinking is on track. Let's see what we get. Here we go. Let's see if we can get it up here. Preseason. Hopefully it is up. Hopefully we didn't say that for nothing. So here we go. Oh, real interesting here. It is Steelers -1, Cowboys +1. So that's even better value than what we have been getting, which is fantastic, what we want to see, no doubt. And let me just make sure this is not at home. Yeah, so it is in Canton, Ohio. So no team has home field advantage. Fantastic. And I would still say the Steelers are probably -4. I mean, Dak Prescott's not going to play. He is questionable. Amari Cooper's on the PUP list, so he's not going to be out there. Tyron Smith is questionable. DeMarcus Lawrence is questionable. I mean, most of their starting kind of defense and good offensive pieces are questionable. I don't see Dak Prescott being out there. Who is the Cowboys' second-string quarterback? That's interesting because they don't have Andy Dalton anymore. So quarterback number 2 here. They got Ben DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert. I mean, this is nothing good, folks. Obviously, we did kind of, bash the Steelers' backup quarterbacks today on the show as well. That's nothing good. Let's just see who's kind of in and out here for the Steelers. I don't see Big Ben playing that much. I think he will play a little bit, where Dak Prescott probably doesn't play because he hasn't even been throwing. And like we said, probably big reps here by Najee Harris. So I'm real surprised that this is Steelers -1, and we are going to take that. That's going to be our pick tomorrow. I don't see that changing. But man, oh man, that's some good value here. Steelers -1. I think the Cowboys defense, you got kind of a trash defense last season with Dan Quinn now as the defensive coordinator. I don't see really that happening and coming together for preseason game number 1. So I'm loving that Steelers -1. I thought it was going to be -4. So Vegas is thinking it's going to be a little bit closer than we are thinking. We'll try to investigate why and, see what we can come up with tomorrow on the show when we make our official pick. But I think that's a little off. I think that's a little light. So we'll see. But that's our first prediction of the season, folks. Getting it right underneath us and seeing how Vegas is coming out this season and what their game plan is to kind of manipulate everybody to losing in their money. And we're going to try to get on the other side of it. So, alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We are back live tomorrow, noon Eastern, doing it all over again and hopefully squeezing in a team refresher. Hopefully there's not a lot of stories going on. And also we have to get ready for preseason game tomorrow, getting that bet right, getting that line right. So, doesn't seem like anything has been breaking. We got Dan Campbell at the podium. This is always going to be interesting to listen to, so I will come with that tomorrow. Jeez. Alrighty. Let's see. Yeah, nothing is breaking. So we're back tomorrow, folks. Live, noon Eastern. We are out of here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.